Hello, my friend. Welcome to StoryFace English. Take a slow breath and relax. Imagine standing on a cold northern shore more than 1,000 years ago. Dark clouds gather above the sea. Freezing winds sweep across the coastline. Suddenly, a strange ship emerges from the fog. Its dragon-shaped head cuts through the waves like a creature from a legend. The warriors aboard are feared across Europe. To some, they are brutal raiders. To others, they are fearless explorers. History remembers them as the Vikings. For centuries, the very mention of the Vikings filled entire kingdoms with fear. Villages prayed they would never see their sails on the horizon. Kings strengthened their defenses. Monasteries hid their treasures. Yet the Vikings were far more than warriors. They were traders, sailors, explorers, and skilled craftsmen. They crossed dangerous seas that many believed impossible to navigate. Their story is not simply one of conquest. It is a story of courage, ambition, survival, and the desire to discover what existed beyond the edge of the known world. But who were the Vikings really? Were they savage raiders, as many ancient stories describe? Or were they misunderstood explorers who helped connect distant parts of the world? The answer is more complicated than most people realize. Behind every raid stood a culture filled with traditions, beliefs, and dreams. To understand them, we must travel to the frozen lands of Scandinavia, where one of history's most fascinating civilizations was born among mountains, forests, and icy seas. The Viking Age began during the late 8th century in the northern regions we now call Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Life there was difficult. Long winters covered the land with snow and ice. Farming opportunities were limited. Communities survived through hard work and cooperation. From an early age, people learned how to fish, build, sail, and fight. These harsh conditions created strong and resilient individuals capable of surviving challenges that would defeat many others across the ancient world. The sea became the Vikings' greatest teacher. While many civilizations feared distant waters, the Vikings embraced them. They built extraordinary ships, unlike anything the world had seen before. Long, narrow, and incredibly fast, Viking longships could travel across open oceans and navigate shallow rivers. These vessels allowed them to reach lands that seemed impossibly far away. Their ships transformed them into masters of exploration and opened the door to adventures that would change history forever. The secret behind Viking success was not only courage, it was technology. Their longships were masterpieces of engineering. Built from strong oak wood, these vessels were both flexible and durable. They could survive violent storms that destroyed other ships. Their shallow design allowed them to travel far inland through rivers. This gave the Vikings a powerful advantage. They could appear suddenly, strike quickly, and disappear before enemies had time to react. In the year 793, a shocking event changed European history forever. On a small island called Lindisfarne, monks lived peacefully inside a Christian monastery. They spent their days praying, studying, and preserving knowledge. Few could imagine the danger approaching across the sea. One morning, strange ships appeared on the horizon. The people watching from the shore had never seen anything like them before. The Viking Age was about to begin. The attack on Lindisfarne shocked the entire Christian world. Vikings stormed the monastery, taking treasures and valuable possessions. Stories of the raid spread rapidly across Europe. Many people believed the attack was a punishment from heaven or a sign of coming disaster. Suddenly, the mysterious warriors from the north became the subject of fear and legend. Their reputation grew with every story told around campfires, churches, and royal courts. But the Vikings did not stop at raiding monasteries. Their ships carried them across enormous distances,
They explored the coastlines of England, Ireland, France, and beyond. Some settled in new lands and built communities. Others established trade routes connecting distant cultures. Every voyage expanded their understanding of the world. Wherever they traveled, they left an impact that would shape local history for generations to come.
The Vikings were among the greatest explorers of their time. Long before Columbus crossed the Atlantic, Viking sailors had already reached Iceland, Greenland, and even North America. Their journeys pushed beyond the limits of known geography. Guided by stars, experience, and remarkable navigation skills, they traveled through some of the most dangerous waters on Earth. Few civilizations possessed the courage or ability to attempt such extraordinary voyages.
The Vikings believed the world was filled with powerful gods and hidden forces. Their stories spoke of Odin, the wise ruler of the gods, and Thor, the mighty protector who carried a magical hammer. These legends were more than entertainment. They shaped daily life, guided decisions, and inspired courage. Vikings believed their gods watched over them during battles and voyages. Every storm, victory, and disaster could be connected to the will of these powerful beings.
Among all Viking beliefs, few ideas were more important than Valhalla. According to legend, brave warriors who died honorably in battle could enter this magnificent hall ruled by Odin. There, they would feast, celebrate, and prepare for the final battle of the gods. This belief helped Vikings face danger with remarkable courage. They feared dishonor more than death itself. To many warriors, glory in battle offered the path to immortality.
Becoming a Viking warrior required years of preparation. Boys learned important survival skills from an early age. They practiced with weapons, developed physical strength, and studied the responsibilities of adulthood. Life in Scandinavia demanded resilience. Every challenge became a lesson. Every hardship became training. By the time many young Vikings reached adulthood, they possessed skills that helped them survive, both on the battlefield and in the harsh northern wilderness.
When Vikings entered battle, they relied on teamwork, discipline, and experience. Contrary to popular myths, they were not simply reckless fighters. Successful Viking warriors understood strategy. They protected one another with shields and fought as coordinated groups. Their reputation grew not only because of their bravery, but because of their effectiveness. Opponents often feared them before battles even began, giving Vikings a powerful psychological advantage.
Over time, Viking warriors became legends across Europe. Stories exaggerated their strength and courage until they seemed almost supernatural. Some tales described impossible victories. Others spoke of fearless warriors who never retreated. While many stories grew larger with each retelling, the impact of the Vikings was very real. They changed kingdoms, influenced cultures, and reshaped history. Yet their greatest achievements were still waiting beyond the horizon.
Among all Viking heroes, one name stands above the rest: Ragnar Lothbrok. Historians still debate whether he was a real man, a legendary figure, or a mixture of both. Stories describe Ragnar as a fearless warrior, brilliant leader, and ambitious explorer. According to legend, he defeated powerful enemies, sailed into unknown waters, and inspired generations of Vikings. Whether fact or myth, his name became one of the most famous symbols of the Viking Age.
The legends of Ragnar spread across Scandinavia and beyond. Tales claimed he led daring raids deep into enemy territory and challenged kings who believed themselves untouchable. Every victory increased his reputation. Warriors wanted to fight beside him. Young Vikings dreamed of becoming like him. Even his enemies respected his courage. In a world where reputation meant everything, Ragnar became a living symbol of Viking ambition and fearless leadership.
As Viking influence expanded,
raids evolved into something much larger. Instead of simply attacking and leaving, many Vikings began settling in conquered territories. They established communities, built alliances, and controlled valuable land. Their ambitions grew with every success. What began as seasonal expeditions slowly transformed into a powerful movement that reshaped entire regions of Europe. The Vikings were no longer just visitors, they were becoming rulers. In the 9th century, a massive Viking force known as the Great Heathen Army arrived in England. Unlike earlier raids, this was not a quick attack. It was a full-scale campaign. Viking leaders sought land, power, and control. Kingdoms across England suddenly faced an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Battles erupted across the countryside. Kings fought desperately to defend their territories as Viking influence continued to spread. Over time, Viking leaders gained control of large parts of England. Some ruled as kings. Others negotiated alliances and established powerful governments. Their influence reached beyond warfare. Viking customs, language, and traditions blended with local cultures. Entire regions were transformed. The people once feared as raiders had become lawmakers, rulers, and settlers. Their story was no longer just about conquest. It was becoming a story of lasting influence. While many people remember the Vikings as warriors, some of their greatest achievements came through exploration. One of the most famous explorers was Leif Erikson. Born into a family of adventurers, Leif inherited the courage and curiosity that defined the Viking spirit. Unlike warriors seeking battle, he searched for new lands beyond the known world. His voyages would eventually take him farther west than almost anyone in human history had ever traveled before. Before reaching North America, Vikings first established settlements in Iceland and Greenland. These remote lands tested their determination. Harsh weather, limited resources, and isolation created constant challenges. Yet the Vikings adapted and survived. Greenland, despite its name, was far from green. It was a difficult place where only the strongest communities could endure. Still, it became an important stepping stone toward even greater discoveries waiting beyond the horizon. Around the year 1000, Leif Erikson sailed even farther west. According to Viking stories, he discovered a new land filled with forests, rivers, and resources unlike anything found in Greenland. The Vikings called this place Vinland. Today, many historians believe Vinland was located in North America. If true, this means Viking explorers reached the continent nearly 5 centuries before Christopher Columbus made his famous voyage. Imagine the courage required for such a journey. The Vikings crossed the dangerous Atlantic Ocean using only experience, observation, and simple navigation methods. There were no modern maps, no compasses, and no advanced instruments. They relied on the stars, the sun, the wind, and their knowledge of the sea. Every voyage carried enormous risk, yet their determination pushed them into places no European sailors had ever seen before. The Viking explorers proved that the world was far larger than many people imagined. Their journeys expanded geographical knowledge and demonstrated the incredible capabilities of human curiosity. Long before the Great Age of European exploration began, Viking sailors had already crossed oceans, settled distant lands, and challenged the limits of the known world. Their achievements remain among the most remarkable exploration stories in human history. No civilization remains unchanged forever. As centuries passed, the Viking world began to transform. Trade became more important than raiding. New political systems emerged. Contact with Christian kingdoms increased across Europe. Slowly, old traditions started to fade. Viking society was adapting to a changing world. The fearless warriors who once terrified distant kingdoms were becoming part of a larger and more connected European civilization. Christianity gradually spread throughout Scandinavia.
Many Viking rulers accepted the new faith and encouraged their people to do the same. Ancient Norse temples were replaced by churches. Old legends continued to survive in stories, but daily life changed. This transformation did not happen overnight. For generations, old traditions and new beliefs existed side by side. Eventually, Christianity became the dominant force across Viking lands.
Historians often mark the end of the Viking Age in the year 1066. By this time, Viking kingdoms had become established European states. Their culture continued, but the age of legendary raids and great ocean expeditions was largely over. The world that created the Vikings had changed, yet their influence remained visible across Europe. Even after the Viking Age ended, the legacy of these remarkable people continued to shape history.
Today, Viking influence can still be found in language, culture, exploration, and storytelling. Their ships changed navigation. Their settlements shaped nations. Their myths continue to inspire books, films, and television series. Most importantly, the Vikings remind us that curiosity can push humanity beyond familiar horizons. They crossed dangerous oceans because they refused to believe the known world was the only world worth exploring.
The Vikings were more than raiders. They were explorers, builders, dreamers, and survivors. Their story is a reminder that history is rarely as simple as legends make it seem. Beyond the battles and the myths were real people searching for opportunity, adventure, and a better future. More than 1,000 years later, their voyages still inspire us to look beyond the horizon and wonder what discoveries might be waiting there.
Thank you for joining this journey through the story of the Vikings. If you enjoyed learning English through history, don't forget to subscribe to StoryFace English for more fascinating stories from the past. Until our next adventure, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep your curiosity alive. Farewell, my friend.